Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In today's video we will be covering the topic of how to push back, start up the aircraft and taxi and take off. We have already covered the topics of selecting the routes and loading the aircraft in the previous video, so if you guys haven't checked it out, please do check it out, and let's go ahead and get started with the video.
Once you have completed the loading process and everything looks good, go to Ground Systems and select System and then select Pushback option and click on the Call Pushback to call the pushback tug. Next, go to Aircraft Systems and select the Lights option and turn on the beacon lights. Beacon lights indicate that no other vehicles should be around the aircraft and is going to start the engines now. Next is open the Ground Systems and select Systems to send back the ACU truck and Ground Power Unit GPU truck. Once this is complete, you can request for pushback from ATC, and once you receive clearance, you can start the pushback. To pushback, go to Ground Systems and pushback and click Auto Push to start the pushback process. I have released a separate video on how to communicate with ATC, which you can find in How to in RFS playlist, so do check it out. Next, request for startup from ATC to start your engines. While you wait for clearance, go to Aircraft Systems and select the Engines tab. Once the startup clearance is received, you can open the Aircraft Systems engines and start engine number 2. In real worlds as well, engine 2 is always the first one to start. After clicking engine 2, you will notice it turns orange and the N1% value slowly starts to increase, indicating the engine is starting up. We have to wait till engine 2 reaches the N1% value of 20% and the color changes from orange to green. The green color indicates the engine is now running. While we wait for the engines to start, you can do your in-flight announcements such as the safety briefing. As you can notice, the engine 2 has now turned green, indicating the engine is now running. Next, we will repeat the same process for engine 1. So click on engine 1 and wait for it to turn green. While we wait for engine 1 to turn green, we can see that the pushback process is completed, so we can go ahead and send back the pushback truck. To do so, select the Ground Systems pushback and call pushback button to disconnect the pushback tug. Now let's check on the engines. As we can notice, both the engines are now running. Next step is to configure the aircraft for taxi and takeoff. Select the Aircraft Systems and Lights option and turn on the taxi lights and turn off the cabin lights and dome lights. Next, set the flaps to 1 and select the Aircraft Systems, and Systems set TCAS to TA and turn off the APU. Now that the aircraft is fully configured for taxi and takeoff, we will request for taxi clearance from ATC and start our taxi process. If you don't know the taxi path, you can open the map and check how to navigate. Since I know the route, I will taxi without checking the map often, but if you are new, do check the map to make sure you are on the right path. Now that we have received the taxi clearance, let's disengage the brakes by clicking the brake parking option and increase the power. Now we will continue with our taxi, and I will see you once we reach the holding point. Now, as you can notice, we will be crossing the runway, so as we reach closer, we will set the brakes to parking and stop our aircraft. Now, as we approach the runway, we will set our parking brakes and open the map and make sure no aircraft is on the runway or on approach and the runway is clear. Now before crossing the runway, turn on the strobe lights. To do so, open Aircraft Systems, then Lights, and click on Strobe Lights. Now you can cross the runway. Once you cross the runway, you can turn off the strobe lights. The reason to turn on the strobe lights while crossing the runway is to make sure other aircrafts can notice you crossing the runway during night or daytime and go around or abort takeoff if it is too close for comfort. Now that we are clear of the runway, we will turn off the strobe lights. Open Aircraft Systems Lights and click on Strobe Lights. Now let's taxi to holding point. I will see you once we reach. Now that we have reached the holding point, let's set the brakes to parking and inform the ATC that we are at the holding point. Now the ATC will ask us to contact the tower for takeoff clearance. While we wait for the communication, we can set our TCAS to TA ray. Next, we need to turn on the strobe lights and landing lights as we enter the runway. So let's open Aircraft Systems and Lights. Now let's contact tower and request for takeoff clearance. Once we receive our takeoff clearance, we will turn on the strobe lights and line up on the runway. Once we are center aligned on the runway, we can turn on the landing lights from Aircraft Systems. Now we will disable the brake and apply power. Initially, we will see it to 50% and check if the aircraft is gaining speed. Once it reaches 40 kts, we will increase the power and set it to around 90% or the takeoff thrust. Now let the aircraft gain speed and reach the rotation speed. Now as the aircraft gets closer to V1 and you hear the rotate call out, you can pull back on the joystick and the aircraft will take off. As you hear the positive rate call out, you can click the gear option and retract the landing gears. Now you can set the aircraft on autopilot. To do so, select AP option and click LNAV and VNAV. Now as we pass 1500 feet, we can pull back the flaps. Select flaps and put it to 0. So this is how you push back, start up, taxi, and take off in RFS. I hope this video was helpful. If you did like the video, do subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. Also, I have recently launched channel memberships which offer various perks. Please do check it out. In the next video, we will discuss about climb and descent. Thank you for watching.